I have heavily cut the documentary film There Is No Tomorrow into a 5-minute extended trailer that summarizes some ideas of the first part.
Since 1860, geologists have discovered over 2 trillion barrels of oil. Since then, the world has used approximately half. Once an oil well starts producing oil, it's only a matter of time before it enters a decline. Individual wells have different production rates. When many wells are averaged together, the combined graph looks like a bell curve. Typically, it takes 40 years after the peak of discovery for a country to reach its peak of production, after which it enters a permanent fall. In the 1950s, Shell geophysicist M. King Hubbard predicted that America's oil production would peak in 1970, 40 years after the peak of US oil discovery. Few believed him. However, in 1970, American oil production peaked and entered a permanent decline. Hubbard was vindicated. From this point on, America would depend increasingly on imported oil. This made her vulnerable to supply disruptions and contributed to the economic mayhem of the 1973 and 1979 oil shocks. 54 of the 65 major oil-producing nations have already peaked in production. To acquire energy, you have to use energy. The trick is to use smaller amounts to find and extract larger amounts. This is called EROI, energy return on energy invested. Conventional oil is a good example. The easy-to-extract, high-quality crude was pumped first. Oilmen spent the energy equivalent of 1 barrel of oil to find and extract 100. The EROI of oil was 100. As the easy-to-find oil was pumped first, exploration moved into deep waters, or distant countries, using increasing amounts of energy to do so. Often, the oil found now is heavy or sour crude and is expensive to refine. The EROI for oil today is as low as 10. It is possible to convert one fuel source into another. Every time you do so, some of the energy contained in the original fuel is lost. For instance, there is unconventional oil, tar sands and shale. Both of these fuels can be converted to synthetic crude oil. However, this requires large amounts of heat in fresh water, reducing their EROI, which varies from 5 to as low as 1.5. If you use more energy to get the fuel than is contained in the fuel, it's not worth the effort to get it. An area has a finite carrying capacity. This is the number of animals or people that can live there indefinitely. If a species overshoots the carrying capacity of that area, it will die back until the population returns to its natural limits. The world has avoided this die-off by finding new lands to cultivate or by increasing production, which has been possible largely thanks to oil. To continue growth, more resources are required than the Earth can provide, but no new planets are available. What can be done in the face of these problems? Many believe that the crisis can be prevented through conservation, technology, smart growth, recycling, electric cars and hybrids, substitution, or voting. Conservation will save you money, but it alone won't save the planet. If some people cut back on oil use, the reduced demand will drive down the price, allowing others to buy it for less. In the same fashion, a more efficient engine that uses less energy will, paradoxically, lead to greater energy use. In the 19th century, English economist William Stanley Jevons realized that better steam engines made coal a more cost-effective fuel source, which led to the use of more steam engines, which increased total coal consumption. Growth of use will consume any energy or resource saved through conservation.